Good morning. Thank you for watching. Another beautiful Lord's Day. Pretty hot. We need some rain. Everybody pray for rain. God knows what we need, but it helps us to ask. So uh, we got our sick list this morning. We're going to start on it. We've got Ashland Hare, uh, Diane Foster, Ronnie Robinson, Becky and Lonnie Barch, Joella King, Doyle Duke, Bruce Lewis, Steve Comer, um, Naomi Blair, Lee Heath, Luana Peeler, Carter Brown, Beanie Blair, Steve Milburn, and we got Taylor Blanton. He's a young man. He's having some pretty bad issues. Please put an extra prayer on him. Uh, got Sharon Armstrong, Creva Summers, and please put some extra prayers in for her. Jason Morris, Pam Brown, and Thomas Bogle. Also, we want to remember the families that were impacted about the shooting last night. Please remember them in your prayers too. Uh, this morning we're going to talk a little bit about some attitude changes, things that we can think about that would change our attitude about things. In this, I guess this country, we need some attitude changing pretty much right now. Says sometimes an inspiring story helps us to find out strength within us. An inspiring story helps you inspire yourself and motivate yourself. It also helps out what you can do and what you cannot do. There are hundreds you may have read in your life, but how many of them actually made changes in your mind? Um, so here's a little story here. It says little things that make a big difference. There was a man taking a walk on the beach, and he saw that along the morning tide had came hundreds of starfish, and when the tide receded, they were left behind. And with the morning sun rays, they would die. The tide was fresh, and the starfish were alive. A man took a few steps, picked one up, and threw it into the water. He did this repeatedly. Right behind him was another person who couldn't understand what the man was doing. So he caught up with him and asked him, "What are you doing? There are hundreds of starfish. How can you help? How many of them can you help? Uh, what difference does it make?" And it said this man did not reply, but he took two more steps, picked up another one, and threw it into the water and said, "It makes a difference to that one." Uh, so what difference are we making, big or small? It does not matter. If someone makes a small difference, we'll end up with a big difference, wouldn't we? So maybe the little things that we can do in life will help, make a little difference in somebody's life. Maybe, help somebody with doing something, or just do something small for somebody. If we all did that, look what a better country we'd have, or a better world we'd have. And God would be more pleased with us. Uh, here's another one. It says, how would you want to be remembered? About 100 years ago, a man looked in the morning newspaper, and to his surprise and horror, he read his name in the obituary column. The newspapers had reported the death of the wrong person by mistake. His first response was shock. Am I here or there? When he regained his composure, his second thought was to find out what people had said about him. The obituary read, "The Dynamite King dies." And also, he was the merchant of death. This man was the inventor of dynamite. When he read the words, "the merchant of death," he asked himself a question. Is this how I'm going to be remembered? He got in touch with his feelings and decided that this was not the way he wanted to be remembered. From that day on, he started working toward peace. His name was Alfred Nobel, and he is now remembered today for the great Nobel Peace Prize. Just as Alfred Nobel got in touch with his feelings and refined his values, we should step back and do the same. What is your legacy? What would you like to be remembered for? Will you be spoken well of? What will you be remembered? Will you be remembered with love and respect? Will you be missed? Those are some pretty serious questions right there that we could all take advantage of. What is going to be your legacy? You know, when people think back after you've been gone for a year or something and you remember, are they going to think good about you or are they going to think bad about you? You know, and our attitude in life has something to do with that. We can have a good attitude or we can have a bad attitude. Our attitude makes us what we are. And here's another one. It says obstacles in our path. In ancient times, a king had a boulder placed on the roadway. Then he hid himself to watch and see if anyone would remove the huge rock. Some of the king's wealthiest merchants and courtiers came by and simply walked around it. Many loudly blamed the king for not keeping the roads clear, but none did anything about getting the big stone out of the way. A peasant came along carrying a load of vegetables, and approaching the boulder, the peasant laid down his burden and tried to move the stone to the side of the road. After much pushing and straining, he finally succeeded. As the peasant picked up his load of vegetables, he noticed a purse lying in the road where the boulder had been. The purse contained many pieces of gold and a note from the king indicating that the gold was for the person who removed the boulder from the roadway. The peasant learned that many of the others learned what many of the others didn't understand. Every obstacle presents an opportunity to improve one's condition. So that's something we can look back on and think about. You know, how many opportunities have we had to do good and we passed it by? You know, we could have done something for somebody that would have helped them, but we didn't. For some reason, you know, we made up a reason for that, and we just walked on and didn't do anything. So take advantage of the things that God has put in our way that we can do for somebody. Have a good attitude about that. Have an attitude of wanting to help instead of trying to figure out an excuse not to help. And it says, this is my last one here that I'll do. It says, everyone is important. During Mark's first month of college, the professor gave his students a pop quiz. He was a conscientious student and had breezed through the questions until he read the last one. And it was, what is the first name of the woman who cleans the school? Surely this was some kind of a joke. He had seen the cleaning woman several times. She was tall, dark-haired, in her 50s, but how would he know her name? He handed him his paper, leaving the last question blank. Just before class ended, one student asked if the last question would count toward the quiz grade. And he said, absolutely, said the professor. In your careers, you will meet many people. All are significant, and they deserve your attention and care, even if all you do is smile and say hello. Mark never forgot that lesson. He also learned that her name was Dorothy. Everyone in your life is everyone. Everyone in your life is everyone just like you, just like the people who give you importance to. So everyone has a story in life. So people matter, you know. It don't matter if they're the professor of the school or the lady that cleans the school. You know, everyone's a person. They were made in God's image, and we should respect that. We should respect everyone that we come across, and give them a chance to prove what kind of person they are. not just because maybe the way they look, we can't figure out, we have more respect for a person that has a suit on versus a lady with a broom in her hand. We should have respect for everybody. And that's an attitude. We need to have the attitude of being polite to everyone, not just and showing respect to everyone, not just somebody that we think is important. Everybody's important in God's eyes, and we need to remember that. Well, that's the end of my lesson today. I hope you get something out of that. I think my lesson is going to be next week. It's going to be about attitude also. Attitude is such an important thing in our life. If you wake up in the morning and you start out with a bad attitude, it's just going to get bad the rest of the day. So why not start out with a good attitude and do the best things that you can do and make God happy, and God will reward us for that. Our good attitude will lend more to getting us to heaven than a bad attitude will. So that's my lesson. Thank you. Please keep all the folks in your prayers that was on the sick list, especially Taylor Blanton. And also I got one more fella. I work with him, and he's had some health issues. His name's Randy Holland. Please keep him in your prayers too. Thank you for watching. Please keep our servicemen and women in your prayers, and our first responders and doctors and nurses and all the folks that keep us safe and healthy. God bless. See you next time.